Hi, I'm Marnie and welcome back to Exploring Colors. Today we're going to use paper and stickers and string and make the most magical mobiles. So let's get started. We're going to take our Exploring Colors box, and this is the last project of this box. And we're going to need a few of the items. We're going to need this Scotch tape, and let's see what else. We're going to need our scissors, and we're going to take out our string that we used a little bit of our string already for our bookmarks last week. We will take out our ruler, and we can take the glue stick. I'm not sure we'll need it, but we'll have it just in case. Our stickers, all those dot stickers. And in terms of paper, we're also going to take out our pen, which we may not need, but some of you may want to use it. And we are going to take out our thick paper. Now the thick paper is the one with the 3 dots. It's the cardstock paper. And you can take out the other paper. You probably have a few sheets left just in case, but most of what we're going to be working on today will be the thicker paper. Okay, so let's put the box away and let's get started. Now, do you know what a mobile is? We've made a mobile before this box. A mobile, if you remember from our very first box, is something that hangs. It's a sculpture, it's 3-dimensional. And today what we're going to do is make a mobile in a little different way. We're going to create the 3-dimensional pieces using paper. So we're going to start with our thick paper, and we have a bunch of sheets left, and we probably all have different colors. So I'm going to just take the band off, and it's the thicker cardstock, and we definitely need 2 pieces, but we may add another color as well. So I think I'm going to use the pink and maybe the yellow. And we may use some of these as well, but let's see. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a very big shape. And I'm going to take the pink, and I've been doing a lot of flowers, but it doesn't have to be a flower. It could be a star. It could be just a crazy shape. Like, let's see. I mean, this could be a flower, but it also is kind of an organic shape. And right next to it, I'm going to do a smaller version. And then on this paper, I'm going to do maybe more like a star. Star has lots of triangles or points. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You can just do points and then connect the last one. And now I'm going to cut off the different shapes, and I'm going to use the rest of the paper for other things. So I'm going to put the rest of the paper that I didn't design over there, and you can do that too. I sometimes find when I put the materials that I still want to use but I'm not using at that moment on the side, it helps me. And I'm going to cut out the big shapes first, and I'm going to separate the 2 shapes, and now I'm going to cut in. And if you find it's easier to cut some of the paper away as you're cutting the shape, you can do that. And we always cut away from our hand. So I'm moving my hand around, and I open up my scissor really wide so I can get in here, and I can cut off a piece. That's fine. I find that children sometimes need little tricks to make the cutting easier. So I'm cutting in so that I don't have as much paper to cut away. And take your time. And I'm going around, and if I, change the shape slightly, that's okay, because I made the shape up, right? Okay, we're almost done with this shape. Okay, I'm going to put that here, and I can keep the scraps because maybe I'll use them. Sometimes I'm inspired with the leftover pieces. Now this, I find if I cut away some of this, it will help me. It'll be easier for me to cut. So, and I think I'm going to change it. It's very thin. It almost looks like a doggy bone. So maybe I'll change it so it's a little thicker. And that's okay if you decide to do that. Because we take a stab at it, but it doesn't mean that that's exactly what we want to do. We can change our mind. We can see how we can make it better. And that's a big part of art. And if I don't want to see that pencil mark, I can turn it over. Now I'm going to cut out both of my yellow pieces. This is going to be near the top part of our mobile. And I'm going to cut some of this away so it's easier to cut. Okay. And I'm going to go in and now over here. And now here. And here we go. We're getting our yellow star. I have a pink flower, kind of a flower, and a yellow star. This is the big piece, and I'm going to keep the scraps over here. And now the smaller star, which I can change the shape slightly. I think I want to make it a little bit different, and you can do that as you're cutting. And once we have these ready, I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So it'll take you a little bit of time to cut out all your shapes, but I promise you it's going to be worth it because our mobile is going to be so fabulous. And it's going to be really fun to put together. Okay, we're going to come back to this. Now what I want to do is some stripes. So what I can do is I can take my ruler, and if you put it on the side that wasn't cut, it's a perfectly straight edge. And I'm just going to do two stripes. Maybe I'll do 3 actually. So I'm going to do 3. Now you see how sometimes I change my mind as I'm working? That's okay. We don't have all the answers always. Sometimes as we're going along, we decide to change our route. Kind of like life, right? Sometimes we plan it one way and then say, wait a minute, I could add another one. And that's okay. That's part of the creative process. Okay, so I have 3 thick yellow lines now, and this is extra. I'm going to put that away. And my straight line is not on this side, but it's on this side. So I'm going to now take my ruler. Ruler is to measure, and I'm going to use it as a template to know where I'm going to cut. I'm going to put the ruler right against the line I just drew because I want them all to be the same thickness. And I'm going to cut these out. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to cut this. And this one, and now the last little bit. So now I have 3 yellow and 3 pink lines. Now, here's where it's going to get a little tricky. We're going to take one of our lines, and we're going to take our ruler, and we're going to try to figure out where the half line is. So if I use the ruler, I can make a line at 1/2 inch because I know this is 1 inch. I see a 1 and a line. So I'm going to do half of that and make a little line here, and I'm going to measure the other side, and it's 1 inch, so I'm going to do the line that's in the half mark, which is 1/2 inch. And now I'm going to put my ruler on both little dots I just made and make a line all the way across. And this will be, I'm going to cut this paper in half. And you can eyeball it or you can measure it the way I just did. Either way is fine. Sometimes you like to just eyeball it. If you want to do that, all you do is you kind of cut in half, but it might be easier to draw the line first. Now on the little ones, what we're going to do is cut them in half. And another way to measure half is you can bend it, and then right at the bend we can open it and just snip that. And we can do the same thing with the second piece where we bend it over and just snip it. So we can really play with how we, you know, different shapes of paper and different sizes, because we're going to have fun in a second with all of these that we're making. So I took 2 pieces of cardstock paper, and I used half of it on the top where I cut out I drew a big shape and a smaller shape of similar shape, and I did a big and a small in the yellow, and then I used the bottom half to make 2 thick stripes, and I did 3 big stripes, and one of them I cut in half, and then I cut in half again the other way. So this is what we have so far. Now what we're going to do, we're going to start by making our big shapes and small shapes. So I'm going to take the 2 big shapes, and I'm going to take my pen and my ruler. I'm going to move all this over to the side so you can see it. And I'm going to cut this in half. So I'm going to measure, it's about 3 inches, so at 1.5 around that, I'm going to make a line. So I have a line for the halfway mark, and I'm going to take the big yellow, and I'm going to measure this. It's about 3.5. So I'm going to do about 1 3/4, almost 2 inches. I'm going to make a line. So it's roughly like half, roughly half. This one I went over a little bit. And then I'm going to cut it. I'm just going to cut that line I just made. Now watch this. This is kind of magic now. I'm going to take my 2 cut shapes, and I'm going to put them together. And look at that. It's a 3-dimensional piece, but it won't hold. It'll probably fall apart. So this is where you put it down, and you take your tape, and I'm going to take a piece of tape, and I'm going to tape the yellow to the pink, and I can bend it back now, and I can see on this side I need to do the same, the yellow and the pink, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and we're going to bend it back, and now I can bend it, and I have this cool shape. And the last thing I'm going to do, well, we're going to bend it and create a little hole. So pick a place where you think you'd like to make a little hole. Bend the paper, and I snipped on the fold, so now I have a little hole. Okay, so that one's done. And I'm going to do the same thing with the smaller shapes. So if I measure this, it's about 2 3/4. So I'm going to do it about 1 1/8. Or you could eyeball it and just kind of draw it. If I wanted to eyeball it, I could just draw it like that. And you could pick any spot you want, but you want a thicker spot. So I picked a place where I knew, like if I did this side, it would be a little hard. So I wanted to do where it was a little bit longer. And then I cut. And now remember, we take the 2 cut areas and we put them together and we push, and it becomes this 3-dimensional shape. And now I'm going to put it down and get my tape and tape the yellow to the pink on one side and flip it over, and the yellow to the pink on this side, and I can bend it back. Right now it's kind of flat, so I'm going to bend it because I want it to be 3-dimensional. And I'm thinking, where would be a good area to have it hanging? Maybe, what do you think? I'm going to look all around. I think I like up here, so I'm going to bend this, and I'm going to make a very small snippet. And I'm going to open it. Here we go. So these 2 are done, and this is going to be part of our hanging mobile. It's going to be really fun. Okay, so now I am going to make a paper link. I don't know if you've ever done that. Now we can use a glue stick. You can use a glue stick if you want, but I like using tape. I think it's going to hold it a little better. But if you used a glue stick, or you could use both, you put a little bit of glue and then you fold this back and it holds. But here's where you could take your tape and you could just carefully go over the seam and then go inside. And then I'm going to take a yellow one and I'm going to go inside the pink. And I can do a little dot. And remember, the dot makes it sticky. So I want to go around and then stick it to the outside. And now I'm going to get some tape because the tape is going to make it extra strong. And I'm going to go around. And so I'm creating a pattern, right? Pink, yellow, now pink again. And I'm going to put the pink through. Now you may be using different colors and that's okay. Whatever colors you decide will be wonderful. Put a little bit of glue. Now I'm going to press and use tape just to reinforce it. Okay. So now I have a small little link, but with a big thick stripes. And now I have I have an extra one here. But now I have some thin stripes. And let's start again with I'm going to open up my glue stick and make a small link. And I'm going to roll this over. This is where it's good if you have little fingers, where it's a little bit easier to get in. Because it's like the baby version, right, of that. And I'm going to go inside the loop. And I really like making these links with paper. I think they're fun. And I'm going to press and use a little glue because sometimes the glue stick with the thicker paper doesn't hold it as well. So that's why I'm using tape too. And you can just use tape, but sometimes when we use glue first, it's a little easier. And now one more. So I have pink, yellow, now pink again. And do a little dot. And I can't wait to see your patterns, to see how you're doing this. Okay, press, press, press. And now I'm going to take my tape. Oops. I was hoping that would happen so I could show you that sometimes it does happen and it's okay. You just push it back together and take your tape. Bingo. Okay, so now I have the baby version, the big version, and now we're going to do another one. Now what would happen if I took these and I created a star? What if I put a little glue stick down and I put, I'm going to just mix different colors. I did an X and now I'm going to put this in and maybe another one. And maybe I'll do one more. Maybe I'll go right in there. And I'm going to use tape on this to reinforce it as well. And I can just put a little bit of tape on this side and a little bit of tape on this side. Tape is clear, so you don't really see it, and it really works well. And I think I'm going to make a hole on this yellow. So I'm going to bend it over so it has a fold. And I have to be really careful on this one because it's not very big, not very thick. So I just want a teeny little hole. Can you see that little triangle I cut? And then when I open it up. So these are lots of fun things that I can use on my mobile. And now we're going to need to decorate our mobile, and then we're going to use string and put it together. So I think I will use, well, we'll start with some of our stickers, and if you want to decorate any of your items, you can with your pen. I don't think I'm going to. We're going to start with the stickers, and I'm going to look at the different colors I have and how they would play on this. Let's see. I have so many stickers left, but I gave you guys a lot of extra materials so that if you wanted to make more than one of something, you could pull this out. So maybe like on, let's see, I'll use the purple maybe on the yellow, and maybe I'll turn it around and use a different color, maybe the blue on this side. And on the pink, Sometimes you can go over where you have your tape too. Maybe I'll use a yellow sticker. And on the bottom, maybe a green. So many choices, so many good choices to make here. Okay, so this is pretty colorful. And I could also go on this side if I want to. So let's try that. I'm going to do another yellow and another green. Okay, so that's nice and colorful. Now this is pretty small, but let's see. What would happen if I did, doesn't really show on the pink so well, so I'll do it on the yellow, and maybe I'll do a green on the other side, and I think maybe I'll leave the pink alone on this one. Okay, so that's decorated. I definitely want to put something in the middle of this star. Maybe I'll use a black one, and I can do the same on the opposite side or different. And I have these fun purple ones. And if I want to cut some of the stickers in half, I can do that with my scissors. Cut the strip in half and then use half pieces. That might be kind of fun, right? And I can go one way and then maybe the other way. Maybe I'll flip it. And you can design it the way you want to. And then maybe on the opposite side do the same or different. One way and then the other way, and I think I'm going to cut some of the light blue in half too. I like how that looks. I just thought of it as I was creating, and you may come up with ideas as you're creating, and that's part of the fun of it. Okay, and maybe on this side I'll use a different color. Let's see. What if I did dark blue? So I'm going to cut the strip. And it kind of looks better a little bit smaller, so I think that worked. And it just gives it a pop of color. So I did the circles going different ways. Now what happens if can I peel off the extra? Let's see. Sometimes the negative space, the space around, like the sticker, is really interesting too. So let's see what I could do with this. What if I put it right here around one of the circles? It's kind of fun. And I have a purple one here. Let's see. I may have to cut this in half. Kind of hard to pull, so you have to be really gentle. And I'm going to try it on this side. I don't like to waste stuff, and sometimes I find that using the background of the stickers is really fun too. It makes it really, the design more complicated, really fun. Okay, so now we're up to our big form and our small form. So maybe I will cut some of the red in half for the yellow. And I have the background that I can use too. Let's do that. Maybe I'll put that on this side. And I could use a whole circle if I want to. And I'm going to keep turning it and seeing what might look good on this. Okay, I'm going to cut some pinks in half to put on the yellow. And, you know, I am just in a big red. I'm just going along, seeing what might be interesting and fun. And I'm bending it and I'm looking at it. So this pink one, I'm going to take another sticker out because I think I want more colors, especially the blues for the pink. So I'm going to use some of the big blue stickers. Now, if I have a blue one here and I want to kind of have my eye go around it, I might want to put a blue on this side and maybe one on this side. And that way, a mobile often moves around in the wind, and as it's moving, I'll see all the blue dots, which will make it more interesting. Okay, so I'm randomly, but I'm kind of artistically trying to see what might look interesting, where I'm spacing out my colors, and I have all this background parts of my stickers that maybe I will cut those and use those. Let's see. I'm going to cut them into strips and use those. So let's see if we can pull this off. And it might be easier for you guys with little hands. Okay, this is going to go maybe here. And there's no right or wrong. We're just playing. And that is part of what I love about art, is you get to play and experiment. This I'm going to pretend it's cut right off the edge. So I'm going to put the straight part right at the edge of my shape. It almost looks like it's part of it is off this, which will be fun. And now, let's see, I have one more blue. This doesn't have very much. I'm going to put it near the edge too. And we have this background stickers. So I'm going to use that. Find a fun place. It gives it a little bit more of a design. It's getting pretty colorful. Okay, now I'm going to start with my little shape. And I have some little pink ones. And maybe I'll put this near the top. And I have another little pink. And maybe this will go right up to the edge, the cut part, so it looks like part of it is coming off. And now maybe I'll flip the yellow to the other side. Now you notice I'm not putting the pink on the pink because I don't think you're going to see it very well. And I want the colors to really pop. So you're going to have to make some decisions as you are making yours where you want to put different colors. And I'm going to bend this back so I want it very three-dimensional. You can play with some of the shapes. Okay, and I don't like that you see so many of my pen marks, so I'm going to cover it with a sticker. And you can do that too if you have a lot of pen marks that you don't like. You can cover it with stickers as well. Okay. Here we go. I'm putting a lot of different colors together on this one. And I put two halves of circles together here. Let's see, I'm going to bend it open. And maybe I'll cover more of that too. Let's see. And can I use part of this to like bend over the edge? Why not? So I bent the sticker over. And I have this piece here, if I cut it, that is the background. And I want to put that someplace. Oops, I ripped a little piece, that's okay. I'm just going to use my scissor to make a straight cut. And, where should this go? Maybe at the edge, right at the edge here. So we have a lot of patterns, a lot of designs. Now I'm thinking it could be fun to use some of these half circles on some of our chain, our paper chain, the links. I have a lot of these half circles that if I go right to the edge, it looks like part of it was cut off. And I can cut this and use some of this, the background again. And the background has a straight line, so I'm gonna see where I could put it up against, like right here, I could do that. A straight line. Okay. And a few more. Let's see, I have a big yellow. You don't have to use all your stickers, but you can also draw on your stickers. You could like make a smiley face. And you could make a silly face. And you could make a profile if you wanted, just half a face. And maybe I'll do another really big smiley face with an open mouth. So you can draw two if you want. And I'm going to put a few more on, and then I think we're ready to use the string. Just want this to be super colorful. So take your pieces and go all the way around. You can go all the way around just to see if there are any spots that you forgot, that you want to put another sticker. And I have all of these. Let's see if I cut some of the background and use it. Wow, this is a long piece. Okay, what would happen if I put this whole piece here? And it ripped a little, but that's okay. It's sticking to my fingers. I'm going to press it down. And I can use this piece here. Okay, so you can put more stickers on if you want, or maybe you're tired, maybe you're done. Sometimes I do art in different spurts. I do some of it, then I come back to it. And you'll decide if you want to just do the sticker part before you go into the rest. Okay. So now, and look at this. This was the band that held our pieces. What if I wonder if we could use that too on here. Sometimes I take pieces that are scrap pieces and I use them in art projects, and you can do that too. Right at the bend, I'm going to cut it, and I am going to go, whoops, to the very top. And maybe I will just connect it or like a loop. Okay, you could use your glue stick or just your tape. But when I looked at that, I thought, oh, that would look really great on my mobile. I'm going to use that. Okay, and if you need an extra second piece of tape, got a little sticky, so I'm going to go over it. You can do that. Okay, so now we have to put all of these together somehow. So we're going to take out our string, and I have pink, and I have purple, and I have green, and you may have different colors. But what I think we're going to start with is, this is going to be the top. So I'm going to take a contrasting color. I could take the pink, which matches the pink, but the purple is a different color, and I think I'm going to start with that. And I am also going to, in looking at this, I think if this is what holds it, I'm going to need to have things coming off of it, so I need to make one more hole. So at the bottom of the pink, I'm going to fold it, and I'm going to take my scissor, and I'm going to make a little triangle. So now I have a hole in two places. I have a hole here, and I have a hole here. So I'm going to take a piece of my string, and I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to take the end, the loopy end, and I'm going to go through one of my holes. And I'm going to go to the top, and I'm going to tie it. Go around and tie it in a knot. And then I can cut off this little bit here. So this is going to be the top. And then what I think I'm going to do is maybe I'll have a few strings that hang down. So I'm going to cut another, fold it, and cut another little triangle from another area on the pink. So now I have the top, and I have a hole here. Oops, I should put my scissors down. I have a hole here, and I have a hole here, and maybe I'll do one more hole here. So I'm going to bend it, because when we bend it, we can cut like a little window, but I want it to be very small. And it's okay if you cut on top of a sticker. just is a little harder to cut, but you can do it. And now what we're going to do is take another piece of string. This time maybe I'll take some pink. And I am going to put the pink through one of the holes. You could pick any of the holes. And we're going to fold it in half. And then we're going to go through a hole and pull the string through. And what I think I'm going to do is attach it to this our little loop, our little chain, and then take both ends and make a knot. I'm making double thick string. And then near the knot, I'm going to cut it off. You could also make it single if you prefer. Okay. So we're starting to make our mobile. Okay, so now maybe the next one will be maybe the bigger link, right? So, oops. So what if I did the purple with that one? So I could take some purple string, and I'm going to show you what it's like if we don't do double. If I just go into a loop and tie a knot, you could do it this way too if that's easier for you. And then near the string end, away from your fingers, you can cut that off. And then I'm going to go through, I can see how tall I want it. I want it to be hang a little bit lower than the smaller one. So I'm going to put this through and then tie a knot. And so much of this, you kind of play with it. If let's say I do it and I don't like where it hangs, I could cut it off and try it again. And we're gonna fold it up and see if we like it. Whoops. This ended up getting caught. Okay, so it's much lower. I think maybe I want it a little bit higher. So I'm just gonna cut it off. And I'm showing you this because you may finish it and say, okay, I like it, but I would like it even more if it wasn't as long. Well, you can change it. You don't have to keep anything the first way if you're not happy with it. And that's also part of the process, is being able to assess what you like, what you don't like. Okay. So I like that better. I think it's better when it's not as long. So now I have two more pieces to put on. Do I want that there? Or do I want that there? Ooh, that's kind of fun there. Okay, so I'm going to use the green this time. And you don't have to use all the colors, but you can. And cut off a piece. And I'm going to tie it to the hole. And, you know, you could also, instead of doing flowers or links, I think it's kind of fun to use the paper in all different ways, this thicker paper. But you could also do an initial. Like my name is Marnie, so I could do the initial M. I could cut that out. I could color in some of my shapes. I do love the way these stickers look on this bright paper, this bright cardstock. And I think your mobile will be really happy. Okay, so now we have to hold it up just to see how long we want it. Now, do we want it really long? Do we want it... I think I like it kind of the same height as the small link. So I'm going to cut off some of this because I don't need all of this. And I'm going to put it through the hole. And tie another knot. I'm attaching all these different things. And if I found that some of it wasn't balanced, I could always put another item on the other side. So I'm going to show you when I lift it in a second. But so much of mobile making is playing, and there are so many artists that are famous that played with making their own mobiles too. Okay. Wow. This is so much fun. Okay, I still have this piece. Now, I could hang it off of the yellow, and maybe that's what I'll do. I'm going to cut a hole. I'm going to bend the yellow, and I'm going to cut a little hole, which is like a little triangle, teeny little triangle, that becomes like a diamond shape. And let me hold this up and see. Well, sometimes they get tangled. Let's see. So maybe if that comes off of that, let's see what color. It's right next to the green, so maybe I'll make this one pink. So I will take my pink string and maybe I'll make this one really long. Let's see. I'm not sure, but I want to be able to make it long if I want to. Okay, so tie a knot. I'm finding that using just a single string is a little bit easier, and if you find it is too, you can do that. Okay, now, let's see if we want it really long. Maybe too long. Let's see, where do we think it looks great? It is going to be hung like this. So maybe shorter. So I'm going to cut off some of this string and I'm going to tie it on. And then I'm going to show you a little trick on how you can make your own little like hook. If you want to put it on, you have to ask your grown-up first, of course, but a light fixture. I like to hang things sometimes in my kitchen. Okay, so they get a little tangled, so you have to play with it a little. But I think this is super fun. And if I want to bend this back, if I find that this is bending too much one way, what you can do is you can turn it the other way and use a little piece of tape to bend it back. And I'm going to show you a little trick. I'm going to take one of my pieces of thick paper and I'm going to create almost like the top of a hanger. I made like a top of a candy cane or a hanger, and I'm going to cut that out. You can use the string the way we just did it, but if you want to put it on a doorknob, or you could still use the string, but this is another alternative. Okay. You could bend, you could put this in, and you could bend it like this, and then take the top part and use tape to tape it down. It's like a little hook, right? And I could even decorate it with stickers if I wanted to. And I could go on the middle part here to just make sure it's on tight. And I could take some of my stickers and just decorate it. This way it isn't just a big green hook. And let's see if I have other stickers I can use. Maybe I'll bring in some yellow and green. And I'll do the other side. And this gives me a chance at this point to see what else I could put stickers on if I want to. Could use lots of colors. Like over here, maybe this could use a yellow. Okay, so now I can hold up my mobile, and if I want to change anything, I can. Like I could hang something else off of this. I could cut another shape out of my paper and hang it. And I'm going to show you how you could do that. Just because sometimes you want to and you're not really sure how. Like let's say I wanted to draw a heart. I could draw a heart and I could cut it out. And I could even fold my heart in half and draw a smaller heart on the inside. Half a heart and then cut it out on the fold. And it should create a heart window, I hope. And then when I open it, voila! And I could take one of my strings here. And remember we said this could have something hanging off of it? Well, I'm going to go into the bottom of it and I'm going to go through my little heart window. And I'm going to tie a knot. And I find that sometimes it's hard to use this with my bigger fingers, but you guys have smaller fingers. It'll make it a little easier. Okay, my scissors. My scissors are pink, so I almost lost them in all of this. And now I think on the heart, I'm gonna put some pink stickers. And then I'm gonna show you what this looks like. It's gonna be super fun and very, very joyous and colorful. And on the other side, but I think it's really fun to put your artwork up in your bedroom or in your kitchen and let the whole family enjoy it. And you can bend things back. If you find that it's becoming too two-dimensional, you can bend it back, but I could hang this up, and it's my very special mobile. And as the wind blows, it will blow around, and it's very colorful and will keep everybody in the family very happy, I hope. So I loved creating with you today, and I hope you enjoyed making mobiles and having fun and getting messy. And I can't wait to see you next week, and we'll have a new box. And I hope you'll show me what you did, because it will be very different than mine, and we can all learn from each other. So please have your grown-up put it on Instagram, a photo of your creation with the hashtag Exploring Colors, and we look forward to creating with you next week. Be well.